compact car. No extra headroom.
Jousting to the death.
Hello, everyone. Oh, this is not, well, this is the beginning. It's okay. Hi, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here. And I know what you're probably thinking. Another unicorn presentation. When Geraldine contacted me to speak to you at Republica about Unicornomics, she was really going into the wild in a whole new way. See, I recognize that a lot of you, when you signed up for this conference, probably didn't have the idea that you wanted to learn how to run a unicorn farm. But hey, what a cool bonus. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about the highly lucrative and action-packed principles of Unicornomics, which are guidelines to properly leverage your enchanted assets, unicorns, for maximum ROI. Now, I want to be clear. When I'm talking about unicorns, I'm not using a metaphor for a business concept or a type of person. I am literally talking about unicorns. So you may need to stretch your imagination. I'm going to borrow it for the next 30 minutes. So to begin with, I'd like to tell you about Farmer McFancy. This unicorn farmer had only had her herd, her unicorns, for a few weeks, but already they were showing signs of illness and weakness. Their rainbows were monochromatic. Their manes dripped glitter like dandruff, and all they wanted to do was lie listlessly on the floor. She knew something was wrong, and she needed help quickly, so she contacted her mentor, my colleague, Farmer McGlitter. Well, what is their diet like? Asked McGlitter. Well, they eat only the best organic ambrosia, answered McFancy. And their sleep? What is their sleep like? Well, they sleep fantastically on their beds of locally grown lavender. And what's their play like? Well, at this question, McFancy was confused. Their what? McGlitter repeated himself. What is their play like? Well, they have structured learning activities after breakfast, and they have vigorous exercise before dinner, and well, I let them participate in the business operation end of things. In fact, quite a few of them have gotten quite good at filing. McGlitter could diagnose the unicorns without even seeing them. Farmer McFancy, he announced, your unicorns are suffering from severe whimsy anemia. So you can see, being a successful unicorn farmer requires more than lavender, ambrosia, and luck. I'd like to give you a gauge to assess your unicorn farming potential. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to answer yes or no. Please answer to yourselves. I probably won't be able to hear you very well up here. Okay, question number 1. Are unicorns real? Yes or no? Question number 2. Do you like unicorns? Yes or no? No copying off each other. Question number 3. If you received a sizable sum of money, would you immediately proceed to purchase a unicorn farm? Yes or no? Okay, now let's break down your answers. Let's take a look at them. If you answered yes to all 3 questions, congratulations. You are already a unicorn farmer in training. If this was a choose your own adventure book, I'd tell you flip to page 87. But since I haven't yet mastered multiple realities, I'm going to ask you to bear with this linear reality and the people who answered no around you. So for those people who answered no, let's break down those answers. Number 1, are unicorns real? If you answered no to this, I want to do a little pep talk about divergent versus convergent thinking. Now see, research has shown that most children, when they're young, are naturally divergent thinkers, which are creative thinkers. But by adulthood, that has given way to a drastic number of convergent thinkers, which is seeking to find the correct answer. Now, looking around the room and knowing that you've come to listen about unicorns, I'm guessing there's a higher number of divergent thinkers than usual in this room. However, if any of you are thinking to entertain some convergence naysaying, please invite the 5-year-old, highly imaginative version of yourself to participate in the rest of this talk. And keep the adult version of yourself nearby. I don't want to find out there's gum stuck to the bottom of these seats. Okay, back to the questions. Question number 2. If you answered no to do you like unicorns, perhaps you might reconsider your answer if you knew this shirt existed. Okay, question number 3. If you answered no to this question, I will assume that it's because you were saving up your money to purchase an entire unicorn nation. Of course. Okay, now that we've assessed the differing levels of unicorn preparedness in this room, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself. As Geraldine mentioned, I'm the chief unicornomicist at Unicornomics, Unicorn Farm, and research and development firm. I also run the unicorn-centric pop culture blog, unicornomics.com. Now, my title does not fit on most standard-sized business cards, but it is glistening with awesomeness because it means I study and report on unicorns. Now, some days this is just establishing what is the favorite flavor of ice cream for the week. Other times, I'm looking at consumer purchasing trends for unicorn horn antitoxin. Here's a picture of my office. I have the world's coolest motivational poster. Oh, the unicorns, they were on a field trip that day. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't start out wanting to study unicorns. I mean, I had the prerequisite Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper and a small collection of My Little Ponies, but I had other career aspirations early on. Here's a peek into that vocational catalog. Around age 10, I thought I wanted to be a police officer. And then a little bit earlier than that, a gymnastic girl. And before that, a dad. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, none of these panned out. See, the movie franchise Police Academy left me disenfranchised about the law enforcement profession. And, well, I could never really find salary information about Gymnastic Girl. And I guess I just wasn't progressive enough in gender politics to claim the title dad. So I went to college and university and earned a few degrees. And I went to work in nonprofit sector in corporate America. And I did well there. But something was missing. And I found out that something had a name. Whimsy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to alarm you, but we are suffering from a global whimsy shortage. And because this is such a crucial part of being a successful unicorn farmer, I want to take a moment to just talk about whimsy. See, whimsy doesn't get the credit that it deserves. It's not that it has a bad reputation, it's that it just gets dismissed. And I'd like to debunk some of the reasons why that is. Often whimsy is seen as weak and childish and a waste of time for adults. But people who think that miss the point of whimsy. See, whimsy empowers. Whimsy lightens our load. It colors our canvases. It brings mystique out of the mundane. Whimsy isn't childish, it's childlike. Whimsy creates a buffer around reality that allows for possibility. It creates space for adventure, for fun, for unicorn farming. And it allows the title of our profession to be unicorn farming, not unicorn husbandry. Now, technically, that title, unicorn husbandry, is correct in grammatical terms and agricultural vernacular, but it is offensive to unicorns who prefer a less sexist sounding term. So, what exactly is whimsy? And how can you leverage it to increase dividends and fun? Well, in my research, I have found that whimsy stands for the following things: wonder, humor, immediacy, magic, strategy, and yes. You don't have to study unicorns to have something to say about these things. In fact, a lot of really smart people have had some really cool wisdom about these. So I'm going to let that intro each topic. We'll start with wonder. Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "Never once in my life did I ask God for success or wisdom or power or fame. I asked for wonder, and he gave it to me." Wonder gets us dreaming. It asks, why do narwhals have tusks? And where can I find one to hang out with? Wonder flips the world on its head and then probes at it and examines it with a little plastic magnifying glass, wearing a funny hat. Humor. Bill Cosby said, "Through humor, you can soften some of the worst blows that life delivers. And once you find laughter, no matter how painful your situation might be, you can survive it." Okay, I know that quote is a little dark, but it gets at the resiliency of humor. Humor is energy, both kinetic and potential at the same time. Humor bonds and attracts and inspires and creates. Positive humor does. Now, note, the H in whimsy is not happiness. That's a common mistake. Happiness isn't a byproduct of whimsy, it's not an ingredient to whimsy, it's a byproduct. See, happiness can grease the wheels for more whimsy, but humor ignites the process and draws other people into the party. Immediacy. Chuck Palahniuk said, "You hear the best stories from ordinary people. That sense of immediacy is more real to me than a lot of writerly, literary type crafted stories. I want that immediacy when I read a novel." Immediacy is authenticity. It draws all five senses into the moment, so you really experience it and don't have to look at pictures afterwards and say, "When did that happen?" Immediacy is real, vivid, uncontrived. Magic. Roald Dahl said, "And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." So when did you stop believing in magic? Or did you? Magic induces wonder, which gives birth to imagination. Some effective ways to eliminate magic is excessive busyness and engaging in corporate speak on a regular basis. In fact, I have discovered an inverse relationship between the presence of magic and the times used each day of the phrase, "provider of value-added solutions." Strategy. Napoleon is said to have said, "Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action has arrived, stop thinking and go in." Now, it may seem that strategy and immediacy are mutually exclusive, but they are not. Both are necessary to account for past, present, and future. Planning and focus are important to the whimsical. I mean, what kind of really great, wacky hijinks could have taken place without at least a vague notion of a goal? Yeah. The strategy is integral to carrying out the whimsical. Yes. E.E. Cummings wrote, I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping green-leaf spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. Yes. Or for my improviser friends out there, yes and. It's about welcoming possibilities. It's like a really good brainstorming facilitator who says and believes there are no bad ideas. Yes takes risks, which may result in stories you never tell the grandchildren. So, you can see that whimsy and its 6 components, wonder, humor, immediacy, magic, strategy, and yes, are critical tools in the unicorn farmer's belt. They're also the crux of Unicornomics principles. It's really a symbiotic relationship. Unicornomics creates whimsy, but you can't create and you need whimsy to create Unicornomics. So, an important thing to keep in mind with Unicornomics principle here, a unicorn without whimsy is like a cupcake without frosting. That also goes for unicorn farming. Well, now that you know a little bit about whimsy, we're going to use that framework to examine the art and science of raising unicorns. Well, what do you need to know to get started as a unicorn farmer? Fortunate for you, I have prepared a crash course in unicorn farming, so you can earn your straw hat and impress your friends at dinner parties. First of all, you need to know the breeds. There are 4 types of unicorns: purebred, twinkle-toe, karmic, and giggle rump. Okay, technically there is a 5th breed. The horse with a horn. Okay, this will work for your preschooler's birthday party. And it may work for intoxicated college students. But no self-respecting unicorn farmer would be caught grooming such a hybrid. Okay? So back to the real breeds. And keep this in mind, unicorn farming is not the default vocation for those who failed at raising horses. Okay, how do you know which breed is right for you of the 4 real breeds? Well, if you're into the classics, you'll like purebred. These are mild-mannered, even-tempered, easygoing, just a dash of sparkle, just a hint of mystery. But if you need a little more pizzazz, then twinkle toes are sparkles aplenty. They shine like the sun, and they grant wishes as if it was their job, which I suppose it is. Next up, we have karmics. These are your battle-ready steeds. Karmics have eyes that glow red, and they have a temper. They are great sources for alternative energy, and they flourish in man caves. And the awkwardly lovable giggle rump. This is the unicorn who has a whole cabinet full of participant ribbons from field day. They are sweet, they are goofy, and they are terribly uncoordinated. So now that you have chosen your breed or breeds, you'll need to hang a poster in your office to declare and remind you of your whimsy. And then you will need to assess your awesomeness factor, or your A factor. This is a pivotal point in entering successfully into the unicorn farming industry. And here's how you can assess it. Present level of awesomeness divided by your aptitude for awesomeness. Now, if you have done a thorough inventory, an honest inventory of yourself, and have discovered that your A factor is lacking, you may need to hire a teammate or, in some unfortunate cases, an entourage to up your A factor. Don't worry, this is only a temporary situation. Being a unicorn farmer automatically ups your A factor. Keep in mind when you are assessing your A factor this principle. When determining your A factor, ask yourself, who is the most awesome person I know? If the answer is me, then you're a jerk. Now, you have your breeds. You have your poster. You have assessed your A factor. You need to get some red licorice to chew, as any good unicorn farmer does. And you need to learn the proper use of unicorn emoticons. Here's a small selection. Happy unicorn, sad unicorn, angry unicorn, apathetic unicorn, unicorn wearing a birthday hat, and a unicorn dressed as Geordie LaForge. Oh, and avoid growing a mustache. Everyone in the unicorn farming community knows you cannot trust a unicorn farmer with a mustache. A beard, of course, but never a mustache. Lastly, you need to get a unicorn farming name. Here is a secret to a successful unicorn farming name. Farmer Mick, fill in the blank. Okay, go ahead, name yourselves. Or if you prefer a more formal ceremony, like a knighting, I suppose, you're welcome to do that too. Unicorns love a good party. So there are many details as to how to get your livestock. There's visiting unicorns at dealerships. There is luring them out of the forest using a virgin, or if you don't know a virgin, hiring an on-call virgin. And knowing that a unicorn herd is called a polycorn posse. Here's a business card for an on-call virgin that I know. But you can read all about those types of details in the Raising Unicorns guide. What I want to talk to you about today is cultivating and maintaining and maximizing your whimsy. See, in my experience, many new unicorn entrepreneurs get so excited and enamored with the idea of owning a unicorn that they jump at every opportunity to harness the unicorn and its powers, often resulting in burnout in themselves and their unicorns. So, one unicorn farmer I knew, let's call him Farmer Mick Anonymous, was thrilled to discover he could use unicorn hair for violin bows, unicorn horns for antitoxin, and unicorn tears for really amazing beer. But he got greedy and over-harvested. His unicorn went on strike and refused to regenerate its body products. PETMA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Mythical Animals, had to get involved. They rescued the unicorn. The unicorn farmer declared bankruptcy of finances and soul. So, what are some inappropriate uses for unicorns? First and foremost, violence. Okay, I get it. Jousting to the death on the unicorn sounds really cool. And so does skewering your sworn enemy with its horn. And yes, karmics do lend themselves toward all-out brawls. But if you engage in these types of brutal activities, you will be blacklisted in the unicorn community. Keep in mind this unicornomics principle. Blood money is sleazy, but unicorn blood money will haunt you even in your daydreams. Okay, so violence is out. Next up, exploitation. Reality shows, freak shows, over-harvesting. All of these are quick ways to make some cash, but they will cost you your reputation and your sense of well-being. Next up, bodily functions and/or waste. Let's just get this out of the way. Unicorns do not like discussing nor showcasing their defecation, flatulence, vomiting, or the like. Unicorn meat, not in good taste. It really doesn't taste good. Unicorn glue, not worth the tragedy you have to go through for production. I will admit that the rock candy that can be gathered from unicorn mucus is a rare delicacy, if you can get past the part about it being snot. Okay, bragging rights. Believe it or not, people will grow weary of hearing about your unicorn if all it does is sleep all day. So what do these have in common? You guessed it, they aren't whimsical. I'd like to tell you a story that isn't about unicorns. When I published the book Raising Unicorns, the money that I made from it went to start a nonprofit in the Phoenix, Arizona area to teach kids about filmmaking. It's called Sail Bear Labs. Here is a picture from the book release and nonprofit launch. It was a charity art show that was unicorn themed and kid-friendly. Now, we chose to work with the ages of 12 to 18 for Sail Bear Labs because we thought this was still an age where they were divergent thinkers. They had a lot of imagination and great stories to tell. What we kept finding, though, is that they wanted to write scripts that had at least one gun in them. We specifically had to say to them that they couldn't include weapons in their stories, and then their imaginations came alive. Now, one principle you can get from this is to remove internal limitations, create external limitations, which is what we did by saying you can't use weapons. But on another scale, it is easy to resort to the shocking and the banal. But the creative, the clever, the inspiring, these take brain power, and they have great overall ROI. So, that leads us to, what are good uses for unicorns? Oh, wish granting. Unicorns enjoy feel-good stories as much as the next creature. So why not invite them to grant wishes that benefit humanity? If you happen to earn a profit out of this, that's fine, just be upfront with them about it. A unicorn that has been taken advantage of is a dreadful enemy. If you give a sincere apology, they will give you forgiveness. An insincere apology may get you wished out of existence. Petting farm. There is a reason that this is the #1 choice for unicorn farming activities. Who wouldn't want to ride a unicorn? And it's a great income generator because you will be hosting tons of birthday parties. One thing we've learned the hard way, though, never allow the unicorns in the bounce house. So, the lesson from that, when a profit can be made, do not lose it through stupidity. Okay, so wish granting, petting farm, training. Like most animals, unicorns can be taught to do tricks and performances. If you are going to go this route, just make sure that it's a well-behaved, good-tempered unicorn. An irritable or entitled unicorn, it can become a diva. And no one likes a diva, no matter how sparkly she may be. Lastly, transportation. Unicorns can teleport. Need I say more? Now, once you have chosen your unicorn farm operations and the focus of them, you will need to make sure that the business end of things does not overwhelm the rest of the dream. Play must be regular and real. One study I did a few years back found that for every 20 minutes of play that a unicorn engaged in, the opacity of the laser beam from its horn increased by 10%. If that play included at least one other unicorn, the opacity increased by 15%, and the laser beam produced Skittles. So what are some popular methods of play for unicorns? Well, in 2013, here are the top 5. Dance-offs, flash mobs, hide and seek, chasing rainbows, and number 1, the Harlem Shake. I anticipate that number 1 might be a little different for 2014. Possibly to be replaced by dancing to Pharrell's Happy. Here's what we want to keep in mind. When it comes to unicorn morale, play is cheaper than medications. There's a lot fewer side effects. Now you as the unicorn professional also need to make sure that play is high on your priority list. A dour face in this industry is not a trustworthy face. So grab life by the horn. Next time you feel like collapsing in front of the TV, go bake some cupcakes for your neighbors or sign up for an open mic night. The unexpected can be a welcome guest. Okay, so you have your unicorns and you have your unicorn farm and you have your vision and all this is going great. How will you know if you have been successful with your whimsy, especially among your unicorns? Well, here's popular data collection methods. You have satisfaction surveys, focus groups, and tracking various metrics, such as participation in field trips, negative reports made to human resources and unicorn resources, and the size of your farm's gross magic product, GMP. Unicornomics principle, keep this in mind. A farm's gross magic product must always be examined in light of the equilibrium struck between profit and whimsy. I am also very excited about a tool that is currently in testing. The Whimsy Ometer takes samples from a unicorn farm's ambiance to test for levels of imagination and fun using the 6 factors of whimsy, as you can see on the schematics above. Now, not only does this mean we will be able to immediately identify areas of deficiency and appropriate supplements, but it also means that we will no longer have to rely as heavily on telepathy to gather the self-reports from the unicorns. Okay, so let's go back to the story of Farmer McFancy. It's been several years since those early days of dire straits. And the unicorn farm is a completely different place. McFancy requires that all the unicorns participate in the following to stay vibrant and vivacious and fantastic. She also requires it of herself and her staff. Number 1, wonder. Explore your world. Use more than X-ray vision to get a new perspective. Humor. Replace smoking breaks with giggle breaks. Immediacy. Impromptu interpretive dance performances. Magic. 30 minutes each day is spent conjuring up something that is unrelated to the unicorn farm. Strategy. Devise wild capers, the coolest of which is chosen each month to be carried out. And yes, rule of saying at least 12 yeses per day, within reason, of course. So maybe you've listened to this presentation and you are convinced, you are ready to put your hand to the bedazzled plow of unicorn farming and not look back. To you I say, welcome to a wonderful world of hard work and unspeakable hilarity. Or maybe you've listened and you're just thinking, unicorn farming isn't my gig. It's okay. You can still make contributions to the global whimsy economy. I hear the market is hot for grooming dragons and breeding chimeras. Or maybe you just need a little more information to decide if you want to chew the red licorice of the unicorn farming. To you I say, try out a little bit of whimsy in your everyday life. See where it takes you. It just might be over a rainbow. At the beginning of the presentation, I asked you 3 questions. I'd like to go back to one of them. Are unicorns real? Having discussed this concept of whimsy, I think the answer shouldn't be a convergent yes or no, but rather, does it matter? I want to thank Publica for inviting me to speak at such an awesome conference. And I want to thank Threadless for creating such an awesome shirt, Steve Seck for creating such an awesome motivational poster, and Kevin Hedgepeth for designing awesome illustrations, most of which can be found in the Raising Unicorns book. And I want to thank you for letting me borrow and stretch your imaginations. Together, we can solve this global whimsy shortage. Sparkle on, my friends.